Organizations helping refugees have been operating for many years, but there's a local effort to support initiatives led by refugees themselves. It's called the Refugee Innovation Fund, being launched by Universal Human Rights International in partnership with Emmanuel Gospel Center. To tell us about the effort from one of the center's programs is the founder of Universal Human Rights International, Reverend Torli Krua. Also with us is the organization's music director, Patron, Yemery. Thank you both very much for being with us.
Yes, thank you.
I want to start with the two of you to talk about your own background as refugees. Start with you, Torli, you've been on before. You came from Liberia. What was the transition like for you?
My transition was smooth because I've actually been in this country a number of years. I used to work for the Wang Computer Company, which was based right here in Lowell. So I've been in this country since 1982. And I came back and forth, on business. And then when the war happened with Charles Tiller, and Ellen Johnson launching the war in Liberia in 1989, then I came here about 30 years ago. So the transition was smooth. I had people here that I knew. I could speak English, and as a Christian pastor, I fitted very neatly in the community.
Patron, what about you? You came here at age 17 from the Congo. Talk about what you were leaving behind and what it was like here.
Yes, also my name is Patron, Yemery, born in Congo. Tanzania, I was born in Tanzania, but grew up in Congo. My father was a pastor, a spiritual leader, and after war, persecution, and all of that, he flew and came to America. And years after that, he managed to join us, to make us to join him here. And ever since I've been here, and I just enjoyed the ride in America.
I'm going to ask you because you're younger and it's fresher in your mind, but what was the most difficult part of the transition here for you?
To leave everything behind, everything that you knew, everything that food, social surrounding, and the social system that we have, and then come here in America where you have to be independent. And so the transition into that it was a big deal.
Charlie, what about that move toward independence? Because I guess that must be one of the goals of this fund that you're trying to work on.
Yes, and so we have a lot of, like they say, necessity is the mother of invention. We have a lot of refugees who've gone through a lot to get to this country, and now that they're here, they're separated from their families, and they have to come up with innovative ways of survival. And so what we want to do is they're already establishing initiatives in their communities, but those initiatives are under the radar. They're not recognized by foundations, by churches, and other funders. And so we want to have this event to be able to raise awareness of the ingenuity of their initiatives and innovation and have people to support them directly.
Talk a little bit more about what some of those initiatives are that you say are under the radar, but maybe these are very traditional things that many other immigrants have done as well, right?
Absolutely. So, for example, some of the things that will be featured in this, on the first launching, is going to be a guy who has he's designing clothing. He's a refugee guy. His name is Rodriguez. He also from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. He designs different types of clothing. He's also a musician. He teaches people. He calls himself edutainment. So he's educating and entertaining people at the same time. So that's one of the things we have. We're also going to have another gentleman that designs model airplanes, model jet planes. And we're going to have that also. We want to also feature the Green Advocates. There's a gentleman in our community who was an advocate for farmers and people who live in the forest that want to preserve their forest. And he was just recently given an award, the Goldman Environmental Award for Africa. So his work is also going to be featured. So a lot of these initiatives that are in our community, not supported by any of these large NGOs or even foundations, will be featured.
Patron, you're the music director, so since you've been in this country, how have you been developing in music? Maybe some initiatives helping that as well?
Yes, so when I came to this country, the first thing, coming from a Christian family, my father, pastor, so we were welcomed with the church, and ever since I've been volunteering time and serving at the local church. And that's where I continue to develop some of the talents, because I grew up, the country where I come from, it's talent, you develop it on the street, you display what you're capable of doing. So, and I was playing all kinds of instruments, singing, dancing, all that to keep yourself happy and joyful. So through the church, I developed more skills and more of interest in music. And as I'm growing and get to know a lot of people and get to know Torli, so this idea of having a training center where we train other people music, because I know a lot of young people coming from Africa, they come to America, they want to entertain themselves, they want to continue to play music. So we developed this place where we have in Lowell, and very soon we're opening in Boston, where we are training people music to play sometimes during Christmas season, birthdays, events, or weddings, or any type of occasion for the good reason of just to keep the community happy.
Congo also has a distinctive kind of pop music. Does that also figure in what you're doing here in America?
Yeah, it's basically like, I think everyone knows, like, if you meet somebody from Congo, he must be a musician or something like that. So yeah, there's that stereotype of being from Congo. Music is everywhere. We don't sleep. You sleep at night is music, and during the day is music. So it's built into our system, I would say.
Thank you both. We're talking with Reverend Torli Krua and Patron Yemery from the Universal Human Rights International. Torli, talk about the event that's coming up in June to get some support for the initiative.
Yes. So what we have on World Refugee Day is going to be at the Reservoir Church in Cambridge, and we'll have food from Iraq, as well as food from Liberia. So there'll be food, there'll be music provided by the group led by Patron, and then we'll be featuring a young lady from Afghanistan, and she has a certain type of business that she's involved in. So we're going to have on display 6 booths, and these 6 booths will have different innovations from the refugees themselves, and then we'll have a discussion about people, how have they been able to develop their talents, how have they been able to be innovative in America, even without funding. So after that, we're going to call on the audience to give questions and answers, and then at last, we'll try to raise some money that will go directly to these initiatives.
Patron, there's a long history of things like this in Boston, but I guess one of the other factors is that people go, they hear these musicians they never knew about before. This is a great opportunity for performers, right?
Yes. So on that day, on June 20th, I would like to welcome anybody, come and see. We are preparing. The music it's upbeat music. We're gonna mix also with classic music. So we want to incorporate it. This is the reason why I was so interested into this, because the African style music, it has some energy, and then also we have learned a lot of things here living in this country. So we will mix things, and you are American, you are African, you are anywhere from, music will sound good.
So one other thing that I'm curious about with this new fund here, there is one model for you, I think. It's not among refugees per se, the Family Independence Initiative. I guess it sounds like there's some similarities with that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'm also a part of the Family Independence Initiative. I'm a family partner with Family Independence Initiative. And Family Independence Initiative is an organization that lets the funders and foundation to directly trust and invest in the families. Instead of investing in the big organizations, they invest directly in the family. On Monday, we had an event at the Science Museum where we had the DTA partnering with Family Independence Initiative to invest in 400 families in the next couple of years right here in Boston. And one of the things that I would like to throw out there is that every Sunday, people go to churches and places of worship, and they take offering that's supposed to be used for the good. Now we are asking those churches to also, that is asking people to pay their tithe and offering, to also make a tithe and offering for the less fortunate in our community, especially refugees who've been uprooted by wars, who now languish in our community, who are trying their very best to be creative. for them to be invested, to
I'm gonna
invest in their products.
Ask you one more time for a little more detail about the event and also how people can make donations to the new fund.
So the donation is, you can go to egc.org, that's the website of Emmanuel Gospel Center, and give to the Refugee Innovation Fund. And that's the website. We are going to be publicizing this more and trying to ask people to get involved. So it's going to be at the Reservoir Church in Cambridge on June 20th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
All right. Well, thank you both very much for being with us, Torli Krua and Patron Yemery. We'll have more news in just a moment.